I'm about to call bullshit on myself because I'd be in a Hall & Oates cover band. Welcome to Movie Painter Pleasure Podcast, the show that loves you back. I'm your co-host, Melanie Gibson, and I'm wearing a pink sweater with white and red hearts on it because this is our Valentines special. Hi, AJ Wall.
You need to tone it down like 15%.
Aw, okay, he doesn't like Valentine's Day. I'm also drinking this cute little bottle of rosé with a heart on it that my dad gave me as a stocking stuffer for Christmas. And I really need this wine because it took us an hour to get set up on my ancient Mac that hopefully will hold out, listen to that glug, that will hold out for our show. AJ, how are you doing?
I hate this fucking computer.
Well,
so much.
Well, I just paid off my house, so I'll have some extra money, and I can buy us a new laptop. Yay!
We'll see.
Okay, so getting on to our show. Wait, what?
What? Nothing. Anyway.
Yeah, let's not jinx anything. So getting on to our show. So for our Valentine's special, we're going to talk about romantic comedies. Now, if you know me, you would think, but Melanie, you hate those things. And I'm actually going to quote myself in my book, Kicking and Screaming, a memoir of madness and martial arts, which you can find on any bookseller. I'm about to call bullshit on myself because I say, and I quote, "My story threads began to weave themselves together in my brain when I realized with horror I'd woken up as the heroine of a romantic comedy. The thing is, I hate romantic comedies. Not only are they tiresomely predictable, rife with bad acting and sappy cliches, but they always made me feel really damn bad about being single. And yet here I was, juggling rudimentary pieces of the equation." And then I go on to list why I'm basically a basic bitch inside a romantic comedy. So I say I hate romantic comedies, and yet the list we're going to go through are all movies that I own. Yep, that's what we're doing. Okay, so let's get through this because we've been fighting with this computer for an hour. So the first one is My Big Fat Greek Wedding from 2002, and this is one that I made AJ watch, and you actually like this one.
Yeah. I don't outright hate romantic comedies. I just don't have a reason for them in my life.
Yeah, I just don't really like them.
Yeah, this one was nice. It was simple. It didn't have a bunch of dumb cliches, I guess.
No, it didn't, and it was kind of based on Nia Vardalos wrote it, and I don't know if she directed it, but she wrote it, and I think it was based on her life. She married a non-Greek, and her whole family got in on it. So Nia Vardalos, sorry, I pronounced her name wrong before. So anyway, moving on to number 2 is another one I made AJ watch and one I own. I own all these movies. 10 Things I Hate About You with Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles, and this is based on Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, and it's from 1999.
Trying to keep all these straight in my mind because they are romantic comedies, so I get confused.
Teenagers at the high school, she's a bitch and he's a bad boy.
What's his face that we just watched?
Yes,
God.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We just watched him.
Dishonorable mention, 500 Days of Summer. God.
That movie was infuriating. It's a very good movie. I think that's one of the best movies I've ever seen about a relationship. We're talking about 500 Days of Summer with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is also in 10 Things I Hate About You. And it's a very good movie, but it's infuriating and it's sad because the character of Summer is so selfish and lacks so much self-awareness. And I think many of us have been in the shoes of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character where we really like someone, we're really into them, and they act like they're really into us, but then they'll say things like, "Oh, I don't want a relationship. This isn't a thing. We're just friends." So it was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. Fuck whoever that Jenny Beckman, whatever.
Whoever pissed off the writer-director of 500 Days of Summer.
Then again, we wouldn't have it unless it happened. So.
Yeah, and it's a really good movie. But back to 10
Sidetrack.
Things... He gets the girl in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh.
He does. So things work out in that movie. Number 3 is Legally Blonde from 2001. And I think this one is hilarious.
It's a chick flick.
It is a chick flick, but it's kind of
sure.
a chick flick in a way that Clueless is a chick flick. And you like Clueless.
I do like Clueless. And Brittany Murphy is adorable, so.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is that's in the... Applegate?
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, she's not adorable. I don't care for her.
I think she's cute.
She's fine in it.
Drink some of this wine. Maybe she'll be cuter.
I've never been a huge fan of her, but
she's all right. Yeah, it was funny. The sequel wasn't as funny, but Legally Blonde is funny. I know there's a musical that's been made of it. I haven't seen anything about that.
I was going to say, I might be curious to see what they would do with a musical of that.
I think I saw one of the songs that took place with the sorority sisters, and it was pretty funny.
Is there any litigation in there?
I would hope so. It's a movie about a lawyer. What?
I just don't know how you'd make a litigation song interesting, but I want it to be real.
Patton Oswalt did.
What?
So we saw Patton Oswalt at the beginning of 2020 or the beginning of 2019, and he improv'd and riffed. He sang the Willy Wonka song, but he talked about litigation because the guy in the front row was a lawyer. So that's the only song I can think of that's about litigation. All right, number 4 has a male lead this time as the romantic lead, and that is She's Out of My League from 2010 with Jay Baruchel as our sweet, kind of dopey.
No one's ever gonna remember that dude's name.
Lead.
I'm sorry.
Cartwright Jay from
I like
Letterkenny.
that guy, but fuck, he's impossible to remember.
It's a funny movie. I really like it.
This girl might be on my top list of blondes I actually think are attractive.
Alice Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the lead, and she is quite curvaceous and pretty.
All accurate. I like that this is kind of like a man's romantic comedy. It's not just that the lead is a dude. It's like, this is for dudes. I mean, I'm sure women enjoy it too, but I guess the whole storyline is for guys too. Even though guys always have hot girlfriends when they're a 5 or whatever in sitcoms and movies and
it was always the dumpy husband and the thin pretty wife. Family Guy.
Basically,
the King of
Queens. That's the one I was trying to think of. I was like,
with our friendly Remini.
Yeah. So in a way, it's still the norm, but it's a little more realistic, I guess. And it's with a guy that I can understand being self-conscious.
Yeah, and
he doesn't already have the girl.
And it's the message of loving someone for who they are on the inside. And it has plenty of romantic comedy tropes, but it's still done in a funny and fresh way. And even with the chase to the airport at the end, which that's probably my least favorite part of the movie because that's so overdone and it's just so predictable. But it's all pretty funny. And there's a part with a Hall & Oates cover band, and I'm always down for some Hall & Oates.
The argument about that is so funny.
Hall & Oates is amazing.
Where they're trying to
I'd be in a Hall & Oates cover band.
When they're trying to argue about, what's on my list or what's on my lips. In this song.
Your kiss is on my...
yeah.
It's on my list. I have the song. Your kiss is on my list.
Of the best things in life.
Of the best things in life.
Yeah, because yeah, anyway. Words.
Because you said your kiss...
Well, it's like that song, Revved Up Like a Douche. Revved up like a douche, rolling in the night.
I'm sure that's not what they said, but it sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right, number 5 is a 2016 anime called Your Name. And we've actually talked about this one on our Thanksgiving special.
I love this movie so damn much.
Why don't you talk about it? I'm going to drink some more wine.
It won, best film of that year in Japan, I think. Or maybe it was anime films. I don't know. I'm not well educated. But it's so amazing. It's got... So, animes seem to have a big deal with gender blender stuff. They really like doing gender blender stories. This is the most fun version of that I've ever seen. The most creative and heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And it made my friend Terrence from work say, man, it makes me feel man, love isn't real. Because he's love isn't ever going to be as good as this.
Yeah, so without giving too much away, a girl in a small town and a boy in Tokyo, I think, or one of the big cities, start swapping bodies. And eventually they realize it and they find a way to communicate with each other. And time is a little bit fluid too. And so there's some really heart-wrenching moments, as AJ said. There was one moment where I thought all was lost the first time I watched it, and I was like, no! And AJ said, no, wait, there's more. But every time, and the animation is so beautiful. The way they do water is incredible.
I especially like that like, my friend's girlfriend didn't want to watch it. Like, she had no interest in it. And he was just like, fine, I'll watch it by myself. And then I picture him, like, with his cover over his head, like, watching.
Love is real.
Watch on the TV while his girlfriend's asleep next to him. He's just, I want love like that.
You'll find it, Terrence. You'll find it.
If Kaylee ever hears this, he loves you. It's just funny that that's the way he reacted.
Terrence, I like your reaction.
Anyway.
We like those visceral reactions. Okay, the next one is an animated movie. Yes.
Honorable mention, I guess. I don't know if it's in there. Did we put Ride Your Wave on this list?
We did not, but we can.
Okay, I'm putting in Ride Your Wave. It's from the same year. It was second place, I think, to Your Name, which is why they showed it at a little anime festival thing that they do every year at the Modern.
Yes.
Which is how we saw it. It's on HBO Max, though.
Yes, and I recommend watching it. So, at the Modern Art Museum in the city where we live does an anime fest every year. We didn't go in 2020, but we went last year in 2021. And like AJ said, they showed this movie. And I was sobbing at the end of it. I used to cry a lot. I don't anymore because I think something's broken in me. I've said this before, but I was like gulping sobs at the end of this. It's heartbreaking. It's really good, and you'll feel a lot of emotions. It is worth watching. It's worth having a good cry over.
And it's like, it's not about love in the way that Valentines is about love.
No, but it definitely touches on love in a way that we may have to deal with at some point.
Yeah, it's definitely about love, but it's just
love and loss.
It's gonna tear your heart out.
Yes, like so many of these anime romances do.
And it's very stylized. It's not stylized, but it has a very specific style, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not super polished like Your Name. It's a little bit watercolory. It's not quite the... I don't even know what style it is. The Urban Host Club, like, tall, skinny people thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, somewhere in between, like, a really watercolor thing and, like, the tall, thin figure. It's... Oh, God. It's very its own and unique.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
It's good. So number 6 is another animated movie, and that is Robin Hood from 1973 by Disney. And I just threw this one in there because there's the great romance between Robin Hood and Maid Marian, but we all know the best character in this movie is Prince John. Sir Hiss
and
on the side.
I was gonna say his boyfriend, Sir Hiss.
Yeah, I don't know if Sir Hiss would have time for Prince John.
I feel
he's
like
too much of a drama queen.
I don't know. Like, I feel like Hiss would have tried, and then John would have, like, denied him in front of everybody, but, like, behind the scenes, he would, like, cry over him or something, but not coming over to have dinner with him or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
That was one of my favorite Disney movies as a child. I remember watching that one a lot. And I remember hearing Robin Hood saying to Maid Marian, he thinks he's about to be executed, "Marian, I love you more than life itself." And I remember as a child kind of contemplating that and like, is it possible to love somebody more than life itself or to give your life for somebody else? And I still don't know how I feel about that, but I remember that line.
I mean, he must have loved her more than most people love each other because he went through a lot of shit.
He did go through a lot of shit.
Are you going to shoot an arrow in the center of another arrow for somebody? I don't think so.
But he did.
Yeah.
For Maid Marian.
He fought men on stilts.
Yeah.
He fought with a sword standing on stilts. You haven't done anything for your significant other compared to that.
You all suck until you shoot an arrow into the center of another arrow.
While on stilts.
All right. Number 7 is a two-parter. It's William Shakespeare's, just so you don't know. So you know the difference. William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet.
Like Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yes, but so much better. This is from 1996. I wish we could just live in the 90s.
This is like one of the only versions of this story I like.
I don't really care for Romeo. Like, the concept of Romeo and Juliet is dumb, but I like the language, the poetry of Shakespeare's language, and I love the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
I like
Paul
the
Sorvino.
idea.
They all have guns. It's amazing. John Leguizamo as Tybalt.
Yeah, that was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good.
he's the shit.
I kind of wish they had done that. There were more movies kind of like
I
this.
think Baz Luhrmann directed it.
Like we're gonna do contemporary everything, and then all the language is still from the play.
That seemed like it was a trend for a while in one-act play in high school to do a Shakespeare play, but to do it contemporary, which we never did. We always did like the Elizabethan costumes and stuff.
I mean,
but like Macbeth in the 1940s. Oh, okay, that's one you need to see. Is now I can't remember the name. This is gonna bother me. It's I'm not gonna say it because I can't remember the name of it. It's a modern day version of Macbeth.
oh yeah,
And
you've
Christopher
talked
Walken's
about it,
in
and I
it.
don't remember.
I used to own it. I can't remember. This is driving me
It's
crazy.
fine. Maybe it's just called Mac.
Something like that. It's basically Macbeth, and Christopher Walken is Macduff in it.
But what if Mac was Macbeth?
As in Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
This is bothering me. I'm gonna look it up and see because it's something PA. Macbeth.
Oh well.
Walken. Christopher Walken's in it.
Macbeth.
Scotland, PA.
Okay.
I knew it was something to do with a location. I'm so dumb. I should have known. The Scottish play. That's what Macbeth is known as. Scotland, PA. This is just it's kind of a love story with Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. But Scotland, PA is about these people in the 70s who open a fast food restaurant. And then the Macbeth and Macduff rivalry start. And,
Well,
the Duncan rivalry.
If someone had done more of these, maybe I would know more about Shakespeare, because I really don't like Shakespeare.
But yeah, that's a modern-ish take on Shakespeare.
Is there another version of this story that you want to mention?
Yes, I do. Actually, you could, because I'm going to drink some more of my wine. There's an amazing anime. So talk about that. Talk about how we found out about it.
I was about to. So we're Taekwondo people, and I was trying to get Melanie into different animes, and I started with Death Note. That worked out, and I brought up this one called Konichi, which is about a dorky kid who wants to learn martial arts, and he has like 4 masters plus a grandmaster of different martial arts, and he learns to be a badass, and every week he like beats somebody that's different. But on the DVDs, there's a commercial that would always open up of Romeo and Juliet, the anime, and it looked insane. And we just decided, like, you know what, this is probably hilarious, let's just watch it. And then we fucking loved it.
We were obsessed.
Oh my god. Okay.
We binged so hard.
We burned through it. And then the best moment, this is how I knew like this, like we were really into this shit, is like we're waiting for different points of the story to happen, and it's different. It's very different. It's not like the play in a ton of ways. It's actually got some stuff from other
they actually have a character. They have a character.
They have William.
We have William Shakespeare, and they have a lot of Shakespeare Easter eggs. So that's fun if you know Shakespeare.
That was cool. And there are Haggans.
Explain what a Haggin is, because that's not what they're called.
They're not called that, but I called them Haggans, and it was very funny. They are horse dragons.
Dragon steeds.
They're Pegasus, but they I don't know why. I was like, they're Haggans.
They call them dragon steeds. We call them Haggans because they're on a floating island. They're on Neo Verona, which is this floating island. It's so cool.
Anyway, so we're waiting for the different characters to come in, and then at the end of one episode we see Tybalt, and we're both just like, Tybalt! Like, screaming like at the end of Split when you find out who's in that universe, and you fuck. We did that about Tybalt.
Tybalt's Juliet's cousin,
and he was actually kind of disappointing.
Yeah, he didn't quite live up to the build-up. We were so excited about Tybalt.
The build-up was so good. Like, he had all this stuff with his dad, and then he kind of had a Zuko moment where he's just like, I won't be the one to kill you, but you'll get yours, and he runs away. Not as fun, but the rest of it was awesome. It has a weird fucking thing about a life tree and
Oh,
Juliet and
Yeah, I mean, the romance between Romeo and Juliet is really minimal. There's a whole bunch of other
and
things
the
going on.
opening. The opening was a Japanese version of what is
was
it? Wind Beneath My Wings or
No,
something?
it was a You Raise Me Up.
You Raise
Josh
Me
Groban.
Up. It's a Japanese version of that. And
Yes.
at first we kept going like, what the fuck is that? I know that song. What is that? And it took us forever and we finally figured it out.
Yep.
Oh my god. So, anyway.
So watch the movie with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio and watch the anime. The anime is so good.
Watch them in that order.
Yes. All right, another animated one from Disney from 2009, The Princess and the Frog. And we just rewatched this. There was an ice storm in North Texas, so everything shut down. And we rewatched this, and I don't quite remember why.
And fuck. I think one of us quoted something, and then you were like, man, I wouldn't mind watching that again. And I was just like, let's watch it right now. We're not doing anything. Yeah, but, okay, so the true love story may not be the one you're thinking of. The true story is of Ray and Evangeline. And his big back porch.
His big back porch. So, Ray the Firefly is the sweetest character. He's this Cajun firefly voiced by Jim Cummings. And I'm not going to say what... I don't want to give too much away, but you really... I've never felt so much for a bug as I felt for Ray.
First you're like, oh, he's such an idiot. And then by the end you're like, what?
Ray, no!
And then, oh, well, son of a bitch. Like, he was right.
I know, he was right. And
So-
also the villain is really good in this one.
Oh yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, actually, I don't really like the love interest very much, Prince Naveen. He's kind of a dick, but that's sort of the point. Is he grows and learns too. So.
Okay, I understand him falling in love with her, Tiana. I almost called her Tatiana. But I don't necessarily get her falling in love with him.
Yeah, but what I like about Tiana, as far as Disney princesses go, is that she's got her own ambitions. You know, she's not like Ariel, who's just like, Daddy, I'm 16. I see the sky once and I want to get married. Tiana wants to open her own restaurant. She has worked really hard. She has saved money. She has dealt with systemic racism. So Tiana is her own woman. And so she goes through this adventure and eventually falls in love. But that's kind of... That's not the whole part of the story.
It's just gotta be in there because it's Disney.
So as far as taking the original Frog Prince story and turning it into something original, I really like what Disney did with this.
Yeah.
Finally we have a princess of color, and we had Pocahontas, but I don't know if that was really culturally
Jasmine.
sensitive, and Jasmine, so...
It was played by a white girl, so...
Yeah, but we had a black princess finally, and it takes place in New Orleans, so it's very stylized.
The music is actually really good.
The music is really good.
And the villain is like one of the weirdest, creepiest, most diabolical villains, really. Like, he's literally selling people to devils and demons, and, like... Yeah, right, man. You could have snuck in the back of that Night on Bald Mountain or whatever.
Yeah, he's got a good villain song for sure.
Anyway.
Alright, so the next one is one I made AJ watch, and one I wasn't sure he was going to like, but he ended up really liking it, is Roman Holiday from 1953 with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. So, a little bit about this. Audrey Hepburn she's a princess from a made-up country. It's basically like Luxembourg or something, and she goes to Italy, she goes to Rome for a visit, and Gregory Peck is an American journalist, and they end up meeting. She kind of runs away from her duties as the princess and runs away from the castle, and so they go on this adventure of just hanging out in Rome, and it's not quite your traditional love story. It actually really kind of gets you at the very end, doesn't it? I think
just
AJ,
the rest of the day you're gonna be like,
but
yeah.
no,
it's not supposed to be like real life.
but it is, because it's kind of this stylized romance of outrageous things happening, and then the end is really more.
It's kind of like,
it's not very predictable.
it kind of, it's not the same, but it's kind of like what we're talking about with 500 Days of Summer. Like, by the end of it, you're just like, fuck.
Like this, you
shit.
could actually see real people going through this. Like, oh yeah, right, a princess and a journalist are going to meet up. Yeah, maybe you won't believe that, but the ending makes sense.
Like,
It's sad. It's not
do,
how I want it to work out, but it's how it works
They
out.
do actually do what would probably be the case.
Yes.
Instead of just being, well, it's a film, so we're gonna...
Yeah, it's a romance, of course.
Yeah, we're gonna change the way politics and society work.
And it's
everything.
really fun to see Rome in the 1950s. There's a guy who made a van out of a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, that was the shit.
so I liked seeing that. Anything else on Roman Holiday?
I got nothing.
Okay, so this is our last one.
And except it's it's black and white, so obviously the acting is superb.
Amazing, yeah. We like old movies.
I really wish I knew why that was. Like, why people cared back then, and we don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just oversaturation.
Maybe. So the last one, and then we have some honorable mentions, other than the ones we've already mentioned. Number 10 is Shallow Hal from 2001.
Might get staked for this one.
People would probably have a problem with this being made now. Gwyneth Paltrow wore a fat suit, but the message, again, like she's out of my league and things like that, is appreciating someone for their inner beauty and not judging them by their outer appearance. And maybe this wasn't done in the most sensitive way, but I really like it.
Yeah. I kind of wish Jack Black was still making films, like, in his prime days like this. Like, he seems very genuine when he's in films. Yeah, I feel like I don't really get the outrage, but I do, but I don't. But I know for... What? I was like, what are you doing? Sorry, Melanie was using the mic if you're... Not the mic, the mouse.
Chat.
If you were listening to this and I got confused.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I wonder what they could say, what their objections would be about it, really. Like, because I know people would probably complain, but, ooh, why does he have to see, like, a different version of her to be attracted to her? Like,
why can't he fall in love with her when she's
but that's the point.
in a larger body? Why can't he fall in love with her then, rather than a traditionally attractive thin woman?
And he's another guy who fits in that mold of, like, schlubby dude, not, like, really attractive, but has to have a super hot chick.
We talked about this the other day, like, okay, yeah, shouldn't we all appreciate people for their inner beauty? Yes, but do people do that? No. There are going to be people who have either certain standards or certain beliefs about who they're attracted to should be or is. And so, yeah, Jack Black is one of those guys who is into thin, traditionally attractive, conventionally attractive women. Are we going to crucify him for it? No, I don't think so.
If only he was raised on Maxim instead of whatever his dad gave him.
Why? Because Maxim has thicker chicks?
Yeah, some more curvaceous women.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Gwyneth Paltrow went on to found Goop. So.
Oh, yeah, God.
So we wish she
by
had.
the way, she can go to hell for that.
Take her jade egg with her.
Oh, like, yeah, you keep selling that shit that does nothing to people.
It just takes their money. So, all right, so that's our official list. For our honorable mention, we've already mentioned a couple of extra things, but I've got two that I really liked. The Truth About Cats and Dogs from 1996, which just really makes me miss the 90s. I wish I could just go back and live through the 90s over and over, like it just restarts, and it's the 90s forever. And then also Think Like a Man from 2012. That was the first time I ever saw Kevin Hart in anything, and I thought he was the funniest person I'd ever seen.
I guess I need to watch something with him, because, like,
Like a Man is so
I've seen
funny.
maybe 2 of his movies.
It's so good.
But I've never been super into him, I guess, because I've only seen, like, the little pieces of him, and it's always, like, being really loud and shit, and I'm just like, I don't...
He is in this movie, but it's really funny. And it's got an ensemble cast. It's a really good movie. And then also one that you mentioned was Something's Gotta Give from 2003.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about that? Because I haven't seen that.
Not that it's been a minute. Like, it's been a long minute since I've seen it. In fact, I was probably like, it might have been 12 to 14 years ago. But I remember, like, watching it vividly. And I think even then I appreciated that it wasn't a traditional romantic comedy. It was about two people that one was, like, in her 50s and the other he could have been in his, I don't know, he was in his 60s or 70s, and his character, although it's probably just Jack Nicholson, being Jack Nicholson, was like, I've never dated a woman older than 30 or whatever. And just him learning to appreciate what's inside, just like all these other movies.
All these other movies, that seems to be the theme. The Princess and the Frog,
and
Roman Holiday, all of them is loving who the person is, loving somebody's inner beauty, looking for the inner beauty rather than just judging outward appearance or accomplishments or any of that.
And the love interest too, I can't remember. Diane Keaton. Deciding for herself, because she has another suitor in Keanu Reeves as a young doctor who is interested in her, admires her, and maybe he has her on a pedestal, but Jack Nicholson sees her, more for, what she just is. So there's some stuff about that in there. I really enjoyed it. It's silly, but it's fun. Yeah, I think it deserves to be.
I'll watch that if you watch Think Like a Man with me.
Alright.
Okay.
Oh, I thought of another one.
Yes.
Definitely should not go on the actual list, but honorable mention I think is fine. Mike and Dave Need Dates to the Wedding.
Yes, that's really funny.
It's so dumb. It's
so dumb, but it's so funny.
Zac
Efron and the other guy.
The other guy.
The other guy. He's always funny.
That guy with a face that can technically do all the same things Zac Efron can do, but he doesn't look like Zac Efron.
He reminds me of your friend Mark a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of is like a white Mark. Actually, that's really on point.
They just look alike.
They act alike too. Mark's freaking ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. Not a lot of really good lessons learned. Just Anna Kendrick has her terrible PTSD from getting dumped at the altar, and what's her face is
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza is just being Aubrey Plaza, kind of being a bitch, but in a really funny way. And that's it. And their sister learns that drugs are cool. So, it's not winning any awards, but it's funny. So
it's really funny. And that's what all these movies are about, is these romantic comedies. I mean, Your Name won some awards.
They distract us with their humor so we don't realize that we're watching a romance.
Yeah, so I'm calling bullshit on myself saying I hate romantic comedies, because I like all of these that I showed, the DVDs that I own, and then the ones we mentioned too.
Oh yeah, we own Mike and Dave.
Yes, we do own that.
one.
I don't know if I'd call Romeo and Juliet a romantic comedy, but it is a romance. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Those are all the movies we love in the month of love.
Any books to throw on?
I just downed a glass of wine, so I don't read romance. So
romance
really
isn't a real. Oh no, I shouldn't say that.
No.
My mom.
I think I respect romance writers because they're writers just like the rest of us.
I don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking around. My mom reads romance novels. I don't want to be rude.
I'm actually curious. I have read. Okay, this is the dishonorable mention. 50 Shades of Grey is the worst book I've ever read in my entire life. And it's not because of the sex stuff, although the part where he pulls out her tampon and does stuff is pretty freaking gross. It's the writing. The writing. You can write about, it's not the content like Twilight. Vampires, great. Shitty writing. 50 Shades of Grey, kinky sex, great, fine. Shitty writing. So do all the love and sex and romance stuff you want, but do good writing. that is my message for everyone: is be thoughtful about your writing. Don't be lazy. Don't use tropes.
And pick better characters. Like, this is just about Twilight. Like, half of the background characters have way cooler backstories than anything that happens in that storyline.
I want like a Carlisle prequel.
Yeah, Carlisle's the shit. What? His dad was a vampire hunt. I almost said dragon hunter. A vampire hunter. Wouldn't that be weird?
I thought you were gonna say he was in drag.
No.
As a hunter.
Yes,
so.
he's an in drag hunter. No, Carlisle's dad was a vampire hunter, and that one blonde chick's backstory was like she was vampirized after her suitor and her suitor's friends maybe raped her.
Oh shit!
Or something, and then she comes back in a wedding dress and murders them all.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
That was in one of the movies.
Way better story than the movie.
Yeah, so fuck Twilight, fuck 50 Shades of Grey. The movies are terrible. The books are terrible. Watch all the movies we talked about. Okay, so how to find us if you want to love us back, because we love all of you. So we are on Twitch. We are on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Movie Painter Pleasure Podcast. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, and iTunes. Join our cult. Be my victim. And like and share and spread the love.
Is that a romance horror movie?
Maybe. Candyman.
Candyman.
Be my victim.
Wait, we only said it twice.
Candyman.